Welcome to another Technical Tuesday. Today our topic is going to be how to anchor like a super yacht. Now, where does that expression come from? Well, strange enough with us, it came from a drink in a bar. We were in a bar in St. Martin, we met a really awesome couple. They were both crew on super yachts. They bought their own sailing yacht and decided to go off and sail. However, the discussion over a few beers turned to how anchoring is done and how sometimes we sit on the back of our boat and watch people really mess up their anchoring. And we were talking, and the super yacht skipper said, well, when I was working on a super yacht, we were taught to anchor in a certain way. And so he told us, and it transpired that over the years we've picked up loads of little bits of advice on how to anchor, but even after 10 years of sailing, I was picking up little bits of advice from him. So this discussion, this video is really about consolidating everything that I've learned over the last 10 or 12 years and passing it on to you. So what does that mean for you? It essentially means that if you learn to anchor and have confidence in your anchor, then you'll sleep better, you'll relax better, and you won't worry as much. We literally 3 days ago were anchored here and there was a charter catamaran that making an absolute gash of their anchoring. They anchored, they weren't happy, they got in a dinghy, they were kind of doing circles over their anchor with a mast. The bottom is sand, the anchors dig in, and there was no wind. They obviously hadn't had enough experience to kind of be confident in their anchoring, so I'm hoping that I can pass that across to you. So hope you enjoy the video, see what you think.
So the first thing to decide is where we're going to anchor. We've chosen Hopetown because it's beautiful, there's a lovely coffee shop, and our friends are there. Let's assume we've never been to Hopetown before. We need to know it's a suitable anchorage for our boat. We need to look at the depths, we need to look at the tidal range, we also need to look at the bottom. What's the consistency of the bottom? Now your paper chart should show you what the bottom consistency will be, whether it's shells or weed or sand, and there's annotations on paper charts which will show you that. Another thing to use is a chart plotter app. This is the Garmin app and it shows you the conditions in a known anchorage as well as other people's reviews of the anchorage and how they found it. Really, really useful. We can see that it's a good anchorage, it's well protected, it has enough water in there at low water for us to not go aground. The next thing to look at is the weather going to be right for this anchorage? Now we need to make sure that we have protection from the lee of the land, which means that the land gets in the way of the wind, and also that there's not too much fetch. Now fetch is described at the distance a sea can travel unobstructed by land, and it will massively affect how comfortable your night is at anchor. We can see here the wind is going to swing around, give us protection from the land at night, not a lot of fetch. Hopetown is going to be a good anchorage for tonight. Now before you anchor, you need to understand the swing of your boat. That is defined as the length of your anchor and your chain plus the length of your boat times 2. So if you've got 20 meters of chain out, a 12 meter boat, your swing room is 64 meters. So you need to understand how much your boat is going to move in the night with a wind shift, and if for instance you're in a river where the tidal flow changes, you will swing 180 degrees every tide change. The anchor is prepared and it's ready to drop. So you select your anchoring spot. I would suggest you do not enter any anchorage at more than 3 knots. The number of yachts I have seen screaming into anchorages to try and get a last anchoring spot while there are swimmers in the water is immeasurable. It is so dangerous. You've chosen an anchoring spot, you're not too close to any other boats, you can now start paying out your anchor chain. At this point you only pay out enough anchor chain for the depth that you are in plus about 3 meters. Then you stop. Pay out no more chain until your boat starts to drift backwards. If you're unsure if your boat is drifting backwards, look at the angle of the chain. When the chain starts to move away from you, your boat is moving backwards. The reason for doing this is that if you just pay out all your chain, all you are doing is creating a big pile of chain on the seabed. That will mean that your anchor will take longer to set. We tend to engage a little bit of reverse throttle for no more than 5 seconds just to start this process. As the boat starts to drift backwards, start paying out your anchor chain to the scope that you require. As we are all chain, we use a 5-to-1 or a 7-to-1 ratio. At no point should your boat be going faster than 1 knot in reverse. When you have the anchor chain length that you require, put your snubber on, pay out some more chain to let the snubber take the stress of the anchor lock. If you fail to do this, you will find that you will damage the Gypsy, or worst case scenario, pull the windlass out the deck eventually. With your snubber firmly in place, reverse gently until you feel the anchor bite. You will normally see the chain rise out of the water and you will feel the boat stop. Once we feel the anchor bite, we then, and only then, reverse for 10 to 20 seconds at half reverse revs. This will bed in the anchor and it will not move. If the weather's going to be windy, we sometimes set an anchor alarm on a phone just to make sure we don't drift anywhere. But it's belt and braces. And once that's done, you can settle down, safe in the knowledge that your boat is secure, that it's not going to move. Which means you can go ashore, you can go for a swim, watch the sunset, or, as we tend to do, sit and have drinks with friends. Do you recognise these guys? Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a comment down below, give us a thumbs up. The comments now are really important because on topics like this, you adding your comments as to how you anchor and what you've learned will actually add to the knowledge base that people who watch these videos will be able to learn from. All our social media is also down below. We have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, and now we've got Snapchat. Back next week with another technical video. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.